What if the most powerful thing you could do today was nothing? No talking, no scrolling, no noise, just silence. We live in a world that is terrified of silence. We fill every empty moment with sound, stimulation, distraction, and in doing so, we lose something ancient, something essential. Today, we talk about the one thing most people are running from, and why the most successful, the most peaceful, the most powerful people in the world have learned to stop running. This is the power of silence. Think about the last time you sat in complete silence, not sleeping, not meditating, just sitting, doing nothing, thinking nothing. Most people can't remember. Because the moment silence appears, we fill it. A podcast, a playlist, a scroll through social media, anything to avoid being alone with our own thoughts. But why? Because silence forces you to face yourself. And for most people, that's uncomfortable. We are living through the most distracted era in human history. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. We consume more information in a single day than a person in the 1400s consumed in their entire lifetime. And the cost of all this noise, we've lost the ability to think deeply, to feel clearly, to hear ourselves. Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. Science has something fascinating to say about silence. A 2013 study published in the journal Brain Structure and Function found that just 2 hours of silence per day caused new cell growth in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, learning, and emotion. Silence doesn't just rest your brain, it rebuilds it. When you remove noise, your brain enters what neuroscientists call the default mode network, a state where it processes emotions, consolidates memories, and generates creative insight. This is why your best ideas come in the shower, in the car with no music, right before you fall asleep. Those moments of accidental silence. Your brain was finally allowed to work at its highest level. Now imagine what happens when you create that space intentionally. The greatest thinkers in history, Einstein, Newton, Marcus Aurelius, all shared one habit. They protected their time for quiet thought above almost everything else. Silence is not the absence of productivity, it is where productivity is born. Here is something most people never learn. Silence is power, not the silence of weakness, the silence of someone who has nothing to say, but the silence of someone who chooses when to speak and when not to. Think about the most powerful person you've ever been in a room with. They probably didn't talk the most. They listened, they observed. They spoke only when their words mattered. There is an ancient proverb that says, "Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something." When you learn to be comfortable in silence, in conversations, in negotiations, in arguments, you gain an almost unfair advantage over people who feel compelled to fill every pause. In sales, the first person to speak after a price is given loses. In arguments, the person who stays silent longest wins. In leadership, the quietest voice in the room is often the most respected. Silence communicates confidence. It says, "I am not afraid of this moment. I don't need to perform for you." That is real power. The loudest voices we hear are not always outside us. For many people, the real noise is internal, a constant stream of worry, self-criticism, comparison, regret, a mind that never stops. Silence is the only way to hear beneath that noise. When you sit in stillness, and even for 10 minutes, you begin to hear what you actually think, what you actually feel, what you actually want, not what the internet tells you to want, not what your friends think you should do, not what society says success looks like, what you, the real, quiet, honest version of you, actually believes. This is the birthplace of self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of every meaningful change in a person's life. You cannot fix what you cannot see, and you cannot see clearly when the noise never stops. The ancient Stoics practiced what they called contemplative silence, intentional periods of stillness designed to examine the mind, question assumptions, and reconnect with inner purpose. the most self-aware people you will ever meet are not the most talkative. They are the ones who have learned to listen to the world and to themselves. So how do you actually bring silence into your life in a world designed to prevent it? Start small. 5 minutes in the morning before you touch your phone. No music, no podcast, just sit with your thoughts and a cup of something warm. Take 1 walk per week with no headphones, just you and the world around you. Notice what comes up. Before responding in a difficult conversation, pause. Let the silence sit for 3 seconds before you speak. You'll be surprised how much better your words become. Create 1 hour per week of complete digital silence. No phone, no screen, no input. This is not lost time. This is the most valuable hour of your week. And at night, don't fill the last moments before sleep with noise. Let the mind settle. Let the day dissolve. Let silence do what no sleep aid can do. Because here is the truth that most people discover too late. The answers you've been searching for. In books, in podcasts, in advice from strangers on the internet. Most of them were already inside you. You just couldn't hear them. Silence is not empty. It is the space where clarity lives, where creativity breathes, where your truest self finally gets a chance to speak. In a world that profits from your distraction, choosing silence is a radical act. It is perhaps the most powerful choice you can make today. Start with 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and listen to what you've been missing. If this video spoke to you, subscribe. Every week, we go deeper into the ideas that will change how you think, how you live, and who you become. See you in the next one.